One, the knock on the door in 2014. In a quiet suburban neighborhood, a young woman named Emily was home alone one night. It was just after midnight when she heard a soft knocking on her front door. Initially dismissing it as her imagination, she tried to go back to sleep. However, the knocking continued, growing slightly louder with each tap. Feeling uneasy, Emily got out of bed to check the peephole. To her surprise, she saw a man standing there. He looked disheveled and anxious, but she didn't recognize him. Fearful, Emily decided not to open the door. Instead, she quietly retreated to her bedroom and locked the door behind her. The knocking persisted for nearly an hour. Its urgency building. Just as Emily considered calling the police, she heard something even more chilling. Soft whispers that seemed to come from just outside her window. Straining her ears, she realized they were calling her name. Her heart raced as she dialed 911, describing the man who was now pacing outside her house. The dispatcher assured her that officers were on their way, but she could hear the fear in her own voice. Suddenly, the knocking stopped, and an eerie silence enveloped the house. Moments later, the police arrived just in time. They searched the area but found no sign of the man. A few days later, Emily learned from a neighbor that the man was a local who had a history of mental illness. What tormented her most was the realization that he had known her name, whispering it into the night, a haunting reminder that not everyone who knocks has good intentions. 2. The basement stalker. On a winter night in 1992, a family in a small town heard strange noises coming from their basement. Late into the night, the sounds of rattling chains and low growls echoed through the house, making them uneasy. The father, John, decided to investigate, armed only with a flashlight. As he descended the creaking steps into the musty basement, the noises intensified. Shadows danced along the walls, and the air felt charged with an unexplainable energy. The flashlight beam flickered, and in that brief moment of darkness, John felt something brush against his leg. Panic coursed through him as he quickly shined the light around the room. What he found made his blood run cold. In the corner of the basement, crouching and covered in dirt, was a man. The stranger's eyes glinted in the light, filled with a mix of rage and desperation. It turned out that this man had been living in their basement, unbeknownst to the family, for weeks, sneaking into their home while they were asleep. Screaming, John sprinted back upstairs and barricaded the door. The family managed to call the police, who arrived quickly and apprehended the intruder. They learned that he had a history of violent behavior, and he was mentally unstable. What horrified them most was the thought that he had been lurking in their home in the dead of night, perhaps, watching them as they slept. The basement had become a fortress of horrors, and the memory of that man S-eyes in the darkness haunted them long after he was gone. 3. The hand on the shoulder. In the summer of 2007, a college student named Jason was studying in the library during the late hours. It was a Saturday night, and the building was nearly empty, shadows creeping over the stacks of books. As he buried himself in his studies, he felt an eerie sensation wash over him. He wasn't alone. Just after midnight, he took a break. Glancing around, it was then that he felt it. A cold hand resting on his shoulder. Jason froze, convinced it was one of his friends trying to scare him. He turned around, expecting a familiar face, but found nothing. No one was there. He brushed it off as a passing figment of fatigue, but the hair on the back of his neck stood up. Moments later, the hand returned, this time gripping him tight. Jason spun around, this time looking for the source more urgently. Yet, again, he was met with only empty rows of books. Fear began creeping in as he reached for his phone to call a friend. Just as he was about to dial, he felt an icy breath on his ear, accompanied by a whisper that sent shivers down his spine. "Help me." The voice was so soft and sorrowful that Jason stumbled backward, knocking over a stack of books. Panicking, he bolted from the library, running into the night air. He later learned that the library was built on grounds where an old asylum once stood. Many had reported similar encounters, but hearing the ghostly plea for help left Jason scarred, forever haunted by the chilling reminder that the dead can sometimes reach out to the living, asking for solace in their cursed rest.